Welcome to Hope Natural Health, the podcast inspiring you to be your best version. Join me, your host, Dr. Erin, naturopathic doctor, dog mom, cancer survivor, and girl boss weekly as we discuss all things health, hormones, and happiness with a little side of this thing called life. Welcome back to the Hope Natural Health podcast, where I try to get you healthy the right way. Welcome back to the show. Last week, we talked about why you might need IV therapy. And this week, we're switching it up a little bit. And I have a very special guest who has literally helped me probably get to the seat where I'm sitting right now and scaling my business. And I'm so excited that she's here. She is joining from Colorado via phone. And welcome, Jackie, to the podcast.
Hey, Erin. Thanks so much for having me. I am so proud of you, and I am so honored that you are having me as a guest.
Awesome. Yeah. When I was making my list of guests, I was like, I need Jackie on here because she's taught me so many things about business, mentorship, you name it. It's just a lot of things that they don't teach us in school. And even though someone out there might be listening and they're not in, naturopathic medicine, medical school or whatever, any of my listeners, it's still an important message because we all need mentorship. We all can learn about marketing. And today that's what we're going to talk about and why it's important. So first, tell the guests a little bit about your background, like how you got into what you're doing now.
Yeah, so it was kind of a long journey. I used to actually, way back, used to be a teacher. And at that point, I wanted to start a school, like a private school. And that's when I built my first website. And that was all about 11 years ago. So I first kind of dove into things about 11 years ago. And I was in the process of starting the school. But then my then boyfriend, now husband, decided he wanted to go to grad school. And so he did that in San Francisco. I ended up going to grad school in Colorado. So we were long distance for a little while. And I was in grad school for education as well, but I was just really falling in love with all the entrepreneurship side. And then, so we'll just fast forward a little bit. I was still teaching. I was in getting my doctorate in leadership, and I started having really, really bad anxiety, like panic attacks constantly, many a day. I actually was diagnosed being agoraphobic. So it was a crazy time in my life. Yeah. And so through that process, I quit my job. I quit teaching because it was so hard for me to even be in public. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I dove super into personal development, like mindset work, mm-hmm. meditation, all this kind of stuff. So my first business was actually around all that. And I had a membership and it was going great. But I fell really, really in love with all the marketing and business stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm healed now. I no longer deal with all that stuff. But that was kind of how it started. And then it kind of morphed on there, business after business.
That's crazy. And how many businesses do you have now?
I have 3, and we're starting a 4th one. I'm starting a 4th one with my husband.
That's amazing. And I believe you do everything from home, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love my home office.
You make your own schedule. You can be in your pajamas. Tell us a little bit about your morning routine. Since you have that whole mindset, do you have a particular morning routine that you always stick to?
Yeah, I wish I could say that I'm really strict with my morning routine, but I'm actually not. But that's the thing I love is the freedom the entrepreneurship provides, right? So I don't have to do the same thing every morning. And I'm the type of person that thrives on change, thrives on fast-paced situations. And I don't like things to get boring, right? So I have to switch it up. Mm-hmm. But I will say, since we're in the summer right now, well, actually today feels like fall and it's just been an amazing, beautiful day here. But usually in the morning I have coffee. I go sit out on the porch, enjoy, as the sun's shining, mm-hmm. It's, starting the morning, and I set intentions for the day. I do that almost every single day. Some days I journal. I really want to journal more in the mornings, but
Yeah.
though that simple activity I do almost every day just to get my mind clear on like what my goals are for the day. And it really just puts me in a good headspace.
Yeah. And it's something that you're like, oh, I need to do that. I need to do that. And it's like, okay, just start tomorrow and do it. Same with you. Like, okay, journaling. All right. I'm going to put my journal out on the porch. So it's there for me when I do maybe set my intentions for the next day. I can do a little bit of journaling. I've actually gotten into that habit, which is new for me for the last, at least this year, I've been really good about journaling for at least 5 minutes. It doesn't take very long. But it's been so awesome just to like write down some manifestations and check in with myself. But again, this is what I've learned over the last years through mentorship, with you and other people who have helped with self-development, business development. So it's super important to work that into your day. It doesn't have to be in the morning, but usually that's the best time to do it.
And I was just going to say, putting pen to paper is so huge too. Because I do that a lot instead of just typing everything and on the computer. So I put pen to paper a lot, and I just get so much clarity on what I want to focus on just by like writing out my plans or writing out ideas, things like that. So
totally agree. And I'm old school, and I think you're with me too. We didn't have computers when I went to school, or we had like the old Apple computer. I remember being in the library and like, I don't even know what this Apple thing is. It was all Microsoft, and now Apple's like taken over the world. But I would write everything on paper. I took all my notes in med school on paper because that's how I learned school, was on paper. But I learned that way too. And there is that huge brain-hand connection. So super awesome to have something written down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So when we're talking about business, like why do you think people might be stuck in their business, whether it's, they can't scale or they may be going in the backwards direction? What throughout your journey, like why do you think that this could be a problem?
Yeah. Really it's the same thing with any big goals, but it comes down to mindset, and mindset's everything. And so, big thing with entrepreneurs is fear of judgment of others. So that holds people back so much for years. And fear of failure. So those two things, like people are scared to fail and they're scared to be judged by others. And the truth is those things are going to happen whether you go big or don't. People are going to judge you, and you're going to have failures along the way, guaranteed. So just expecting that and being okay with that and comfortable with that, and actually welcoming it, being like, I want to have failures because that means I'm putting myself out there and doing the dang thing. So I heard a long time ago, probably about 6 years ago, it was a podcast, and I wish I could give credit to who it was, but someone said that they kept a folder on their computer, and it was like the failure folder, and they had a goal of hitting like 10 failures a month or something.
No way.
And because they knew if they weren't hitting that, that meant they weren't putting themselves out there enough. And that really struck me. I was like, that is amazing, because it's true. And these don't have to be these huge epic failures, but just, little things, someone, a post falls flat or, things like that, these things are going to happen. But once you welcome them and expect them and know that it's part of the process for growth with anything that you're trying to go big on, then it, becomes much easier.
Oh yeah, that's so true. And I've fallen a few times and definitely had that. Med school, I had that huge fear of failure. And I think that was just something that stemmed from my childhood. I just strive to be the best that I could be. And I was so afraid of failing, and that held me back. I had that block in my brain, and I wanted to get 100%. I wanted to get A's. And I'm like, I don't need to get A's. I just need to understand the material and pass. I don't need to get these A's, because when I was striving for those A's, I was doing terrible and I was failing things. But it was this mental block that I had to get an A or else I failed. And then the whole comparisonitis thing, or the fear of judgment. It's like, well, yeah, there's a bazillion naturopathic doctors out there, and there's a lot of them in my community, and we're all kind of doing the same thing, but we're really not. And I don't compare myself to the person next to me, because I am me, and people gravitate towards me because of my personality, maybe my past and my, health history, et cetera. So I think that's important to remember with any business, those exact two things. And back with the failure thing, it's, like what recently I had my master class, and I had not very many people sign up, and I only had one person on live, and I didn't sell any of my courses. And I'm like, crap, this sucked. But I looked at the message, and I think that's the important thing too, is to find the message when you do fall and say, all right, well, this happened because of this. And then you just pick yourself back up and you come back even stronger. But yeah, totally something that happens. And I think everyone's been there, or if they haven't, it's going to happen and it's okay.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the thing is, like, even with like your masterclass, you went and did it. You have even more experience doing it. So the next time you deliver it, it's going to be even, more fire, so it's not a failure really at all. But we, especially us that are high achievers, we do put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And the thing is, you just don't want that. You want that pressure. There's a fine line. The pressure, if it's motivating, great. The pressure, if it's demotivating, meaning like you're not actually going after what you want. And I see this all the time. You got to figure it out. Be like, okay, what's going to hurt more? Like failing or the feeling of never going after what I really wanted,
Right. Yeah.
So,
yep. Yeah, you got to put yourself out there. And I mean, that's what I'm doing with my podcast. It's not perfect. I stutter a lot. I make mistakes, and it's out there. So, but yeah, and I'm sure people judge it, and I don't care. It's me. It's my podcast, and I like it.
Yeah. And done is better than perfect.
Exactly.
Always.
Exactly. I had a question that I wasn't going to ask you, and it was in my brain, and I know what it is. This is a big one too for us girl bosses or anyone that has their own business and works a lot. How do you separate business from personal and set those boundaries so that you're not working all the time? Because I know you work a lot, and people in our community are like, Jackie, take the day off. Or we used to do that. So how are you getting better at that? How do you recommend someone start with making sure that they take time for themselves and are not working 24/7?
Yeah. And I actually have gotten a lot better at this. So you'll be proud of me.
Good.
But, part of the thing is having boundaries with yourself and with your clients or your patients or whatever. Just having boundaries, knowing you're only going to answer emails. Like now I only answer emails a couple times a week, unless it's like something super important. I also have boundaries with myself, knowing like, okay, at the end of the day, like I close my computer and I do not work after 6 p.m. anymore at all. Unless there's like a huge launch going on or something like that. But, and then the other thing is definitely been hiring. So I just hired a director of operations who basically does all the project management, everything. So I could be in my zone of genius, and she gets everything out where it needs to be. So it just depends on where you are in it, but definitely set those boundaries with yourself as soon as you can, and also your clients or patients. Like that's the first step. And then as soon as you can, start hiring people that can try to take some of the burden off of you. Because trying to do everything on your own is a fast track to burnout.
Right. And sometimes you have to make that investment, even though you might not think that you can afford it, correct?
Yeah. And I think, I do think so. And I think also like making the investment can be super motivating, right? So if it feels scary, then okay, well, I have this person I need to pay for now. So I need to make the numbers work in that favor. So to me, it's super motivating anytime I make a hire, just to know that, that's less money I'll be taking home, or less money that's going to be in the business bank account. So I know I want to make that up, right? I want to do that. And so it's super motivating for me to have that number to add on to the number that I want to hit, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it totally makes sense. And I've been there, making a few hires. I'm like, well, I'm not going to bring home as much, but it does. But it also more too, you hire the person so it can free up your time so you can focus on your zone of genius to bring in more money down the road. So
exactly.
I hear a lot of people are like, well, I need to hire a VA or I need to hire someone, but I just don't have the income yet. And I get that. But if you just use a little bit, just think about all that time that you could free up so that you can bring in more income. Because right now you're jack of all trades. Like we're doing everything. And that's a fast track to burnout too. I've almost been there.
Well, and a lot of that's a money mindset issue, right? Or a belief in themselves that they're not going to be able to pay for it. So a lot of that comes back to that mindset piece of really like getting that in check. Like, getting your mindset in check, really believing in what you're doing. And honestly, like at first, everyone in business or most people in business feel like somewhat of an imposter, whether you're an naturopathic doctor or, have your own business like mine, an ad agency, anything like that. Like at first it feels a little uncomfortable, but in that point you like act as if you have $1 million business and you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? And and that's how the confidence like comes, and you just have to commit to that confidence. Right. Confidence is something, it's it can be learned. So it's not something you're just like born with or not. Nope. Like confidence can be learned 1000%. If an ex-agoraphobe like me can get on tons of podcasts, talk to people all day, everything like that, anybody can do that. Oh yeah. So I'm like, yep, it can be learned and people could do it. So my advice definitely would just be like feel the fear and do it anyways. Get out there and do the thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I've been told too with other mentorships, and you too, everyone says the same thing. And I've learned it. It's like, well, if you feel the fear, that means you're supposed to do it. So do it.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a sign that your body's telling you, the universe is like, okay, this is something I'm supposed to do because this scares the crap out of me. What is the biggest business or marketing struggle that you see currently?
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of people, anybody that's doing advertising right now is probably aware of the iOS update, and there's been lots of privacy changes, and there's privacy changes to email. So now with the next update, you won't be able to track email open rates. You'll be able to track if someone clicks on an email, but not the open rate. Right now with Facebook ads, it's made it much more difficult to retarget things like website visitors and things like that. So that is a challenge. But it's also like if you have the foundations of marketing down, it's not going to affect you very much. And by that, I mean knowing who your ideal client or patient is 100%, doing the market research, knowing how to speak in their language, and just really nailing down your messaging. That those basics, it's not going to matter whether there's algorithm changes to privacy policies, anything like that. The basics of marketing will stand. So that is a challenge for sure. And we're always hit with big updates when it comes to ads manager and business manager with Facebook, and the platforms are always changing and all that kind of stuff. But the basics of marketing always win. Right.
Yeah. And I know that you've helped me so much with my ads, and it's like, oh gosh, how do you know all these things? And it's always changing. And same thing with the algorithms. And it's just like, well, if you just keep doing what you're doing and you know who you're speaking to, it's going to work out anyways, even if there are changes. Like I know that, but it gets confusing because you're just like trying to learn something different. You learned it one way and then they change it on you. You're like,
I know. But yeah, it's like nail your messaging and use data to make decisions and you're good.
Oh yeah. 100%. Awesome. Yeah. I can see why that would be a giant struggle. So if someone's listening to this, like where do you recommend they start? If they're like, okay, I'm kind of in a rut, or they're ready to take it to the next level or improve their business, like where do they start?
Yeah, great question. So there's going to be two different levels to this. So if you have converting offers, so if you are selling something, whether it's an e-commerce store or if you're a doctor and you're getting lots of patients, that kind of thing, then you're wanting to scale. You're kind of in a situation where it's been steady, but you're ready to go bigger and scale. I 100% recommend paid traffic. Obviously, I'm a big fan of paid traffic because I own an ad agency, but if even like my organic is terrible. Like I'm kind of a lazy marketer when it comes to organic marketing, just because I love paid traffic so much. I can control a lot more of it. That kind of thing. So if you're in that stage, paid traffic's the way to go because you can just get so many more eyeballs on your brand. You can build your brand, build that know, like, and trust on autopilot, build your leads on autopilot, that kind of thing. So considering like Facebook and Google would be great for you. If you are not at that stage and you're just kind of, you're making some sales, but not a whole lot, you're going to want to use what I call the OPA strategy, which means other people's audiences. And this is 100% free. So all it means is trying to get on podcasts like I am right now, or, collaborate with people, get on their IGTV shows, their live Facebook shows and their groups, that kind of thing, to use other people's audiences to get your message out for free. So it kind of depends on that. But the number one thing is getting the eyeballs on your offers and building that know, like, and trust. So whether you're at the stage where you are going to focus on the organic game or the paid traffic game, it's the same goal. It's getting more people to know you, like you. And across the board, no matter where you are in business, lead generation needs to be a priority, no matter what, because you own your email list. You do not own any of the platforms. Your Facebook page, Instagram page, everything could be gone in a second. But your email list you own. And so that is a way you can stay in contact with people. Plus, you can upload them to platforms to retarget them in ads and that kind of thing. So across the board, no matter what kind of business you're in, whether you're a doctor, business coach, you have a store, physical location, or an online store, grow your email list. It's going to be well worth your time.
Will you touch just a smidge on like a lead gen and like what someone would do? What is that?
Yeah. So with lead gen, what you normally want to do is come up with something, I like to say juicy, but something to give away for free that people would typically buy. Like they would buy this information. Because at this point, we used to be able to get away 5-6 years ago with freebies that weren't as juicy because it wasn't saturated. But now, since a lot of people know the importance of lead gen, people want, the goods, right? So that's how you're going to get the cheapest leads. And so what it means is you, in exchange for their name and email, and sometimes phone number too, you are giving them something for free. So this could be something like a online masterclass. It could be an ebook, but if it's going to be an ebook, it needs to be something really, really good because people are kind of burnt out on ebooks. It could be a challenge, something like that, to where people are into it. Like they want to spend that time with you, or they want to get this information from you, and they're willing to give you their name and email. And I'm actually encouraging people now to try to test with the phone numbers as well, because there's all kinds of texting apps that you could use to text your community, and those have really high open rates and things. So as the marketing's changing, texting can be a really good tool as well. But yeah, just finding out something people might actually want in exchange for their information, so you can be in contact with them and build that know, like, and trust, and sell them your offers.
Yeah. Do you think the texting is growing because people are sick of getting emails, or they just don't read emails, but we're always on our phone looking at our text messages? Yeah.
So text messaging has like a 80% open rate or something like that, which is crazy, which 20% is standard in email, and it's getting even a little lower than that. So yeah. So what I like to do, because again, I'm all about ads, is use, with some of my clients, we're using text messaging, email, and then we're retargeting those people so they're seeing the same information in ads. That's
crazy. Yeah, the ad world is fascinating, and I know that's your legit zone of genius, and it's not mine, so I get confused and scratch my head every time. That's why I have you in my life to help me. But it's been like crazy that just because I've run ads, or have multiple ads running, and just people are like, oh, I saw your ad. And it's like, oh, how did they see me? And I think it was because, retargeting, or maybe they're on my email list, or whatever the case may be. But it's really cool how you can do that, and even retarget after they saw it and they didn't click it. And then they can see, oh, well, you didn't click on my ad, so you need to see it again. Cool. It's super cool. It's creepy too.
Right. But yeah, it is cool.
And it works. It works. So yes, run ads, lead gen. I actually need to work on my lead gen because I don't have one, but I run the master classes. So I guess that's how I'm capturing some emails lately.
That's lead gen.
Yeah. And I would rather do that because I should probably have that anyways. But anyways, okay, as we wrap up here, so a question that I ask everyone is, what is your best or favorite health tip that you would like to share with everyone?
Yeah, so I'm going to go again into mental health and mindset.
Love it.
But So this is one of the things I started doing when I was going through my mental health crisis, basically. And so I would pick a number every day. And every time I saw that number, I'd go into a state of gratitude. And I still do that. And it completely transforms my day. So I could be in a really bad mood, stressed, whatever. I see that number. I think of something I'm grateful for, and it just transforms my mood, ups my vibration, all that kind of stuff. So that is my health tip.
Oh my gosh, I have not heard that one and I love it. I'm going to do that. You just pick a one, like 1 through 10, or can it be like 42?
Yeah. No, I normally pick 1
okay.
through 10. Because 42 will be, you probably aren't going to see that.
Okay, I didn't think so. So it's 1 through 10, 0 to, I guess maybe 10.
Yeah.
Or 9.
I do 9. Yeah.
Okay.
0 to 9.
Ooh, I'm going to start that. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And it kind of, it trains your brain too, to go into that state constantly. So.
No, and it's so true. And, you know, when crap happens to us, like I know you've been through things even with your mental health crisis, but even through business. Like I know a month ago or so you had someone hacked your Facebook and got into the ads or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, so we can get in these really, really low vibe states. I mean, I had some social media drama recently and that put me in a low vibe state, but if you can have that number and just see it and it's like, ooh, snaps you out of it. I love that. That's a really good one. Thank you. I need to start making a list of everyone's health tips and come up with some document because I'm hearing some good ones. So thank you for that. So Jackie, where can everyone find you and they want to learn more about ads or help with ads and all of that?
Yeah. So I'm actually redoing my website right now. So in the meantime, you can DM me on Instagram at Dr. Jackie Noelke. So you can do that, or you can find me on Facebook, just my personal Facebook page, DM me there, and I will help you out. We can chat.
Awesome. Yeah. And all these her links will be in the show notes. And if this does come out in time for your website, and we will have that in there too. So, oh my gosh, I have so much gratitude for you and how you've helped me get to where I'm at. And I took a faith and invested in the ND community, and that's how I met you. And I am so glad that I did, and I recommend it to anyone. So I will link that in the show notes too. That's the community for naturopathic doctors where I met Jackie. She runs it with her husband. Super awesome. And you're just a wonderful person. I'm so glad that we're in the same path, and you're in my circle, and we've connected. And I really appreciate you being here today.
Thanks. And I have the same thing to say about you. And I know your patients are really lucky to have you as their doctor because I know how serious you are about everything, and you are one smart cookie. So your patients are lucky to have you for sure.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I really appreciate your time today. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and a share and share it with the world. And we will see you next week for 5 reasons why. Okay, this sounds funny. We're talking about business, and now I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons why your libido is in the toilet. So don't miss out on next week's episode. We will see you then.